What's up guys, I wanted to make a quick video for Savescumming Artians. Turns out there is a seed in place for upgrades where weapon upgrades are already predetermined, called a seed. They're not really randomized when you upgrade them. But since there is a seed, you can craft a bad or spare Artians of the same rarity and weapon type to move the seed ahead one and forge and upgrade your wonder weapon again and see if you get better stats on the second seeded craft. So first craft, you make a junk weapon to get the junk stats, and you gain another chance at better stats on the second craft for the weapon you actually want. And if the second craft sucks, then you would make 2 junk weapons and try on the third craft to potentially get the stats you want, and so on and so forth indefinitely until you finally get the weapon you want. But what you can also do, which I'll be doing today, is crafting 3 to 5 weapons ahead of time and seeing what the effects are. That way I know, oh, the roll I want is on the 4th. So I just reload my save, get all my mats back, and just craft 3 junk weapons for elements I don't want to waste. And then on the 4th craft, I would make the real Artian I want and get the stats I wanted. This is going to save you time from having to quit out all the time and rechecking stuff, since we'll be reloading our save to not waste materials. So for this, you kind of want to pre-farm before doing this method, like a lot. So get as much Artian parts and ore as you can to try this. So if you guys find it helpful, make sure to give the video a like and share the method with others. Now a quick update before we start for my Obliterator Bow build. I accidentally used Gore Waste A, which I shouldn't have, kind of limited my build options. I never really crafted the B version. So instead go with this slightly changed setup. All Bs now, and with the Fulgur helmet, getting rid of dad legs, unfortunately. But this will get you a level 2 slot for the 3rd ambush, or for what I'll be doing, since I plan to use this mostly in multiplayer, I'm going to put Evade Extender level 3, so I can be in range better for DP to be in critical range, since monsters in multiplayer tend to go all over the place, right? This will help a little bit with range. And I might not get sneak attacks often for ambush to activate, so yeah, it'll be useless in that case. So yeah, just a more min-max version of the Obliterator build setup. We should still watch the video for the how to play it. Anyways, savescumming. Step 1. You will simply hard save in the menu near Gemma. I repeat, hard save. Now from what I tested, it doesn't save even after you forge and upgrade it, but just in case, I would hard back up your save as well. So for console users, you would back it up via the cloud or USB, and for Steam users, you would go to Program Files, Steam, User Data, whatever that folder is, and then Monster Hunter Wilds save folder should be this one here, 2246-340. I don't know why Steam doesn't label these right, but yeah. If you don't see this folder, then maybe it's renamed for you, but in that case, I would sort by date modified, then check each folder and see what files were the most recent, which will likely be Wilds with the save that you just did. Anyways, copy this folder, do not cut, copy it to your desktop, and that will be your anchor backup. So if you need to revert your save back, you just copy that folder on the desktop back onto here. And I would also turn off Steam Cloud Save in the settings as well. Anyways, again, step 1, save near Gemma. Step 2, check the first forge. So make the weapon you actually plan to make. In my case, water dual blades, and then upgrade it and check the stats. If the stats are bad, you hit options and then return to title without saving. Again, return to title without saving. Once you load back in, you'll be at the point before you did the craft, getting back all those materials, aka savescumming. So, the stats you just got on that upgrade will always be the same no matter what element you make. The one exception is raw by using 3 different elements, and that will have its own separate seed since it can't roll elemental boost and doesn't work with this method at all since you're going to use up 3 random parts anyways, and typically it's always better to go with either blast or para weapon if you're going for raw longsword, for example, since pure raw has 0 benefits aside making it easier to roll all attack mods. Okay, so you know the stats of the first craft now. They're bad. The next step is to make a junk weapon with parts of an element that you don't plan to use, like poison. Ain't no one making poison Artian, and that weapon will take the blow of having those bad stats you didn't want. So make the junk weapon and then craft your water on the second craft, and you have another chance at better stats. If that ends up being crap, you do the exact same steps as before, you quit out, come back, but this time you're going to craft 2 junk weapons, and then try your desired element on the 3rd, and then repeat this until you finally get the perfect combo. So you will still waste parts no matter what, but at least you're not using up like all your water, for example. So this whole process is to simply preserve the parts for the element that you desire. Now for the batch method, you will cut out quitting out and just craft one weapon and then upgrade it to full, check the stats, craft another, upgrade it, check the stats, craft another, upgrade it, check the stats, repeat, and keep doing this while keeping track of how many you crafted, like I do here in my little notepad, until you get a craft that you desire. Say the craft that you want is on the 15th craft. You got it. Now you quit out without saving, reload your save, craft 14 junk weapons without upgrading them this time, and then on the 15th you craft your desired weapon and upgrade only it so it can see that good seeded roll. That saves you from having to reload back in all the time, but obviously you need a lot of craft material and ore ahead of time. It does take 50 ore to upgrade one weapon to full. However, you can save a little bit of ore when checking in this step and just upgrade to say +3 or 4. That way, if you're looking for quad LE boost +1 sharpness, but the first 3 rolls you get have attack or affinity, you're never going to get that perfect Artian, right? So no point in upgrading it further. But again, the upgrade part is just to see what the stats are. It doesn't affect the seed at all. Likewise, the initial chosen stats of attack or affinity, I also try making a raw weapon first and seeing if that moved or changed the elemental seed, and it doesn't. I tried making a rarity 8 longsword to see if it can get the stats that I got for dual blade, and it doesn't. So each weapon type has its own seed, and not only that, it also doesn't skip a seed for the dual blades. So instead of getting the 4th crafted stats, I got the 3rd still. Making a lower rarity Artian doesn't move the seed for rarity 8 weapons. They each have their own seed. I tried going on a hunt and coming back and see if that changed the seed, and it didn't. I tried changing areas, and that didn't do anything. So my point is, you could be cursed for the next several dozen rolls, like I was for these dual blades, seldom getting sharpness with elemental. So in that case, you're pretty much cooked, because there's no way to change the seed as far as what I tested. I will say, don't just throw away decent rolls. Example, if you're crafting Artian water dual blades and you got a no element boost but something like +1 to 2 sharpness and rest attack on one of your junk crafts, that could actually be best in slot for something like blast or sleep weapon where you only care about raw, right? So say in the same scenario of 15 weapons, say I roll that good attack craft on the 7th. On the final reload back into the game, when I finally decide to make my weapons, I'd craft 6 junk weapons, roll blast on the 7th, then roll another 7 junk weapons, and then roll water on the 15th. And I'd gain 2 weapons I want instead of just 1. And for bow users, keep in mind that coatings are set in stone based off element, so the ice bow will always have pierce coating, so factor that into what Artians you plan to make. So I hope you guys find it useful. As far as which stats to get, it will vary weapon to weapon and monster to monster. More recent findings are saying raw is better than elemental on something like bow or even longsword, because things like Arcvel don't take as much elemental damage, and that's like the most farmed monster, right? So raw is better in that case. But against something like Gravios and you want to scratch its belly, you definitely want as much water element as possible since it's super weak to water. So that's how you're going to decide on what your stats are going to be based off the monsters you plan to hunt. For dragon element against Arcagore, I would aim for mostly raw. I'd also aim for at least 10% affinity, so 2 affinity on the base and then 1 raw. That way you secure decent crit chance. Speedrunners are using Corruption Mantle, and some are not even going any crit. But reality is, you're not going to use Corrupted Mantle every hunt since it has a 10-minute cooldown, so you're going to lose a lot of crit and a lot of crit boost value if you plan around that. So 10 to 15% crit minimum, I would say, and +1 sharpness for melee weapons, and +1 or 2 sharpness boost because those are like +30, and that's basically handicraft level 3 as a stat, which is really strong, and allows you to get crit boost level 5. So good luck, leave a like, comment down below your best Artians so far, or what Artians should people make for certain weapons or matchups. Let me know down below, and subscribe for more Wilds epicness.